are we all feeling? Nick, have your nerves calmed down? In fact, has he managed to return from his cooling down period? No, he's not back yet. Oh, there he is.
Don't worry.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Have your nerves settled a bit after that intense last game?
I just poured a bucket of ice on my face, so that should do the trick.
I mean, that'll do it.
Huge shout out again to everybody who helped. Thanks, guys. You made this game awesome. Love you so.
So for the viewers' benefit, or for those who perhaps joining us for the first time, can we go through each of you in order, A, B, C, D, for the brackets in which you've got here, and just to talk a little bit about how you've managed to get yourselves here into this final. Let's start with you, Anonymous.
I was in the Ablegamers qualifier. That was quite the battle. I'm glad I could make it here. I'm pretty nervous. I'm a sheep amongst wolves. Everyone else here is very good. I don't know how things will go for me, but I have faith that maybe with donations I can survive.
And you had quite a fight on your hands in the qualifier there, didn't you?
I did, but it does help that people suicided.
That's always helpful when your opponents kill themselves off. That's always helpful. All right, so moving on then, Nimzo. Let's talk a little bit about your journey here. So tell the viewers who perhaps may not have been here for your game how things went for you there.
So I was in bracket B, and things went pretty smoothly for me, and I accredit that entirely to the outpouring of donations that I've had. Thank you all so much for your support. Please continue it on into this final round. I feel like I need to give back a little bit, so I'll bribe all of you a bit. If I win the finals, I will have a 1 hour long stream on my Twitch after Ablegamers of me just practicing violin. So I will maintain my serenading.
Oh, that is absolutely outstanding. Okay, there we are. So that's your plea then for Nimzo. If you want Nimzo to win and play you violin, apparently. So Matt, again, for the benefit of those who may not have been able to watch your earlier game, do you want to talk a little bit about how you managed to get here?
Sure, I was in bracket C, and I basically got all the ego from the generous donators, and they got me on a really solid start from the very beginning. And it also helped that everyone else was kind of busy fighting each other and completely neglected Orbital. So I just took over from there and started sniping them one by one. As for the final game, something that I noticed that everyone wants to see, including yourself, Roncat, lasers, catalysts. You can donate 5 catalysts for me, and I'll promise you all the other planets are just gonna go pop, pop, pop.
I mean, that's a nice, easy promise to keep as well. I like that. And Nick, on to you. Again, most of the people who are still here probably had witness to your last game, but just give people a little taste of what that entailed for you.
Not gonna lie, it was an uphill battle, especially after in the beginning I got swarmed by 2 Imperators, a Vanguard drop, and then one of the most skilled players invading me. But again, thanks to everybody who helped, we managed to pull through. Now, Matt is talking about Annihilators. Here's the thing. You're not gonna need to give me 5 Annihilators. You're probably not gonna need to give me more than 2 or 3. I'll take care of the rest and we'll win this final. Thanks, Elliot.
There we go. So Nick reckons he's got the more economical victory route for you. So there you go. Those are our finalists. Guys, we're going to shoot you back up into your channel to continue playing this battle. Good luck to all of you. And
Good luck.
I look forward to speaking to you all afterwards.
Thank you.
There we have it, Marshy.
It's gonna shape up to be quite the game. I tell you that much for nothing. It's shaping up to be quite the game. We've allowed the players in the game to choose their preferred colours. Nimzo has gone for his customary orange, MattShadowwing for blue, Anonymous for black, and Nick for a lighter blue. Should be a nice enough gap for you, but we'll see what happens in this game. Launching now.
So here we are. The finals of Ablegamers 2020. And what a journey it's been to get here. But we have a little treat for you. All of the qualifiers were played on the same system. We have a little something different for you this time.
Yes, we have an entirely different system. You might recognise it from last year's Ablegamers, and these players might as well. You spawn on the stage, the infamous stage. There's lots of metal like the square one of the last system, but you can go off to Diode. It's a pretty plain planet there, but it has been hotly contested before. It has been the site of commanders being Ragnaroked by their own Ragnaroks before. Moving further over, you've got Neutrino's Garden. Quite a mystical place. No one knows what happens over here. Finally, Berry's Allotment is our metal planet in this system. Again, similar metal quantities as before. Slightly less in the way of obstructions around the planet. But just as ominous if that laser is completed. It's all on you now, folks. You control the final element of this carnage. Let's try and reach our goal. We've got one game to do it. Let's get there.
I am confident because we have 4 absolutely amazing players here who are not just amazing players in their own right, they also seem to have some very generous people supporting them. They've all got here through your support. You guys have led them here. You guys have brought them here to the final destination where they're going to go head to head and hopefully put on quite a show for everybody.
They will indeed, and with your donations they'll do it even more so. Looking here, from the bottom of the queue, upwards. Start with Nimzodragonlord in orange. Starting bots first, into air, into vehicles, so he has the biggest possible diverse build, as you can imagine is kind of what players tend to want. They want to be able to get any option available to them, especially when they know that donations are on the way. Moving round to the east, in his Pumpkin Commander is MattShadowwing, ready to spook all of the opposition with Halloween vibes of blue pumpkinicity. I don't know what I'm talking about there. Meanwhile, again, still further to the east, Anonymous in Gunmetal Grey has gone air first. Air Fabs, a very risky play for an opening, but they're moving straight down south. And looking at the South Pole here, which is very rich in metal, he's trying to build up down there. And our last player, the player who just went through the longest slugging fest in a fair while, is Nick, the top player in the game. Will he need your donations, or will the other players? I hope you have made them. I hope you continue to make more, because there's a lot of fun to be had on this system. Last year was chaotic. Let's make this one an octave more so.
It's interesting because actually, I was about to, at the start of this game, I was going to question whether any of the players would notice about this very rich metal deposit down on the South Pole. But actually 2 players have individually and independently gone to try and steal these, thinking, oh, no one else will notice that I'm here. But actually, Anonymous can see that Nimzo has got his fabricator part there. I suspect he's going to follow that up with something to try and get rid of said fabricator.
There will most likely be a bomber, but it hasn't been built yet.
Early orbital for MattShadowwing. He wants to get off this planet. He wants to go exploring interplanetary very early in the orbital game. I don't think he wants to hang around on the stage at all. Even though, looking around the system, stage is by far and away the most metal-rich planet here. There is definitely an incentive for players to stay here and contest this planet and at least get a share of its resources.
And indeed, as you say, and it looks like Nimzo is doing just that. Nick also, because again, the players actually on this one have quite a defensible spawn, whereas on the last one it was very open and you could get attacked from any angle. Here, the players have a nice sort of enclave to start in. They have a nice choke point to their north, and to their east and west there are a couple of, again, choke points that they can lock down, and to their south a nice little enclosed expansion, again, that they can lock down. Having said that though, Nick, looking at the stars with wonder and desire in his eyes, thinking, I want to be amongst those and he will be within 5 minutes.
Interesting aggressive expansion from MattShadowwing. The shortest route between any of these players is of course across the North Pole, so this should in theory be a vibrant battleground. Instead, Matt has decided to make it his primary economic expansion, streaming units and fabricators in there, and even starting some factories in the nearby vicinity. Bold move. Any of the other players could quite easily swoop in there and pick him off. Let's see if they choose to do so, or if, as Matt himself is doing, choose to escape this planet altogether. Nimzo now also joining the space race. And the last to get up into the orbital layer will be Anonymous 2.
Yeah, Anonymous, if I remember in the first game with Anonymous, did he try and lock down the first planet, or did he try and do a combination of first planet and Hello Neighbor? I think he did a combination, didn't he?
He did indeed. He was able to pull off multi-planetary tactics with particular skill, and that is absolutely key to the Ablegamers tournament. Even if you are the best 1v1 player, single planet player in the world, you will struggle on multi-planet systems because there is that extra layer, the orbital and interplanetary layer, which so many players struggle to fully get to grips with. It demands so much attention switching. You need to be able to look at something and then quickly remember, I did something over here on this other planet, like ages ago.
Donations coming in now. Nimzo receives some resource bonuses straight off the bat. His eco now lurching back. Although, that being said, he must have been really far behind if he's only now getting up to 133 eco.
That's an Astraeus in for Nimzo. He's getting his commander off of this planet. He's going exploring.
MattShadowwing gets a load of boom bots. Where'd those go?
Where is that commander going? Looks like he's going off to Diode. Commander is on his way to Diode. There's a teleporter by MattShadowwing already waiting there on Diode. And having an anchor built on top of it, I really, really hope that Nimzo's commander isn't about to get Astraeus directly next to that anchor, because that could be a very early departure if so.
Well, the anchor isn't quite completed yet, but it could be very, very embarrassing for him.
He's managed to miss it. That's good.
There we go. On the North Pole, nice and safe.
Lots of donations pouring in here. Nick. Lots of Nick. That must be mines. Mines in all of the gateways there. And a big old swarm of boom bots, just for good measure.
Was trying to get on Neutrino's garden over there. He did get taken out.
Some eco going down from MattShadowwing as well, who's now pulling away, floating pretty hard. Because he's just been given so many metal extractors, he doesn't really have any factories to support them yet. But, good news, he's got 2 kernels, which will allow him to take full advantage. They're going through a teleporter, which means I suspect they're going through onto Diode. He's got loads of metal there now, and he's sent his commander through as well. He's going to make Diode his home. 2 commanders now on Diode, Nimzo and MattShadowwing fighting over this fairly small and metal sparse planet.
It's very metal sparse indeed. In fact, all planets, bar the stage on this system, actually have quite a small amount of metal compared to last game. So what you won't see in this game, folks, are people really locking down planets as well as last game. There just isn't the economy for it, which means everyone is going to have to scrap for each tooth and nail.
Lots of mines going down. It's quite funny actually, where you've got these choke points here. For instance, I'm going to send a ping. You've got this choke point here where 2 donations have gone in, one for Nick, one for Nimzo. So neither player is going through there without a decent amount of scouts because, mines. Looks like there's a skitter in this force that's about to go forward though from Nimzo, and that will reveal Nick's mines as they come through, if indeed they continue on their path, which they seem to have halted on.
I think Nimzo at this point might not necessarily want to push in. I think he's just sat them there just in case. It must need to be said, though, he has left his eastern flank quite exposed. That being said, again, of course, his commander is off-world on Diode. He is starting to build over there. He's getting his second air factory and then moving into a bot factory, so he does want to expand very fast. He isn't aware of the fact that there are 2 kernels against him on this map. However, look at that, MattShadowwing sending out all the fireflies. He's going to know exactly who is on this planet with him.
There's a lot of eco donations here. Not a lot of aggressive unit donations so far. It's been eco donations, it's been kernel donations, it's been advanced fabricated donations. people have been really focusing on the eco game here. They're looking for the players to use their own skills. Having said that, Nimzo has just had a big drop of horseflies. So I eat my words instantly. Those could be very, very destructive over here on the stage.
Just noted that Anonymous 2's commander is over on Diode. So we've got 3 commanders over on Diode. Oh, here we go.
There's a commander.
Horseflies.
Nick's commander right next to those horseflies. Could this be an early departure for Nick? Has he got enough anti-air to deal with this? He's got no anti-air. That commander needs to rush through that teleporter. These horseflies being poorly microed. That commander needs to get through that teleporter. He needs to get it linked to something.
Nimzo is playing with his food big time, but that does mean, folks, Nick needs your support. Can you give him some Colonels or some Praetorians? Probably Colonels. He is playing Legion. Colonels would be better for him, and that would give him the anti-air he needs. There's also this large land army here. His commander making a run through that teleporter. He's not hanging around.
Where to, though?
He will be going over to Neutrino's Garden.
So that means there are no commanders left on this planet. Right, it's Boombots versus a large tank army. What
But
could possibly go wrong?
The horseflies are just too strong there. And the booms just get stopped dead in their tracks. The Scorpions, though, those are pretty decent against that MLA vehicle force. And that will wreck them. Run Nimzo, says Anonymous. Something must be happening on Diode. Oh, dear. Oh, what? How is he...
He's done it. Nimzo's gone.
Nimzo is gone.
That's a Boombot snipe over there on Diode. Nimzo is out of the final. Anonymous 2. Boombot snipe.
Wowza.
There he is. Those Boombots. And we're now going to see... Oh, that's not going to do very much. There's a Locust about to get picked off by a turret at range. Wow, Boombot's OP. Who would have thought? We see this every year.
It was, it doesn't take much in the way of donations to really make waves on this planet. Now, it has to be said now, the stage has an empty base. Someone can move in. MattShadowwing hasn't really bothered focusing off-world. He's happy with his little enclave on Diode, but he's actually expanding quite nicely on stage. He's getting a T2 Air factory over there on Diode. He seems to be doing all right on stage there. As you mentioned, he did expand up onto the actual sort of platform there on North Pole. He's still building more over there. So could that mean that he's playing for this? We still don't see much going on with Berry's allotment. He has got a teleporter there, however.
I'm just trying to watch these players to see who's going to expand into the gap that Nimzo has left behind. At the moment, none of the players seem particularly interested in the stage. Berry's allotment, as you say, has a teleporter there. Matt is trying to get a presence, I think, all across this universe. So there's 4 Imperators for Anonymous currently patrolling Neutrino's Garden.
I think you'll find that's 5.
This is why casters don't count things. 1, 2, many.
Yes.
Many Imperators currently patrolling around Neutrino's Garden, the home base of Nick. However, as we've seen in previous games, Imperators are not necessarily the best commander killers.
They're not necessarily the best, but they are very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Imposing Imperators. That's what I'm looking for.
Nick's fully aware that they are there. Of course, all players can see everything happening across the orbital layer on all planets. So it won't take much for him to stick up a few umbrellas and shield himself from those slow-moving orbital units. I'm not seeing much happening at all on the stage now. Everything seems to have slowed to a bit of a halt over there.
It's a very quiet game so far, bar the very early departure of Nimzo. Anonymous moving in with a little bit of air on MattShadowwing's base. He's going to move it over a Colonel, so it's going to get mopped up very, very quickly there indeed. What else is he doing in terms of plays in his base? Not a lot. It looks like he's kind of left this planet in the main. That's probably because he's building a lot on Diode. Nick defending against MattShadowwing on the North Pole there, so Nick's still trying to make sure he keeps his original base. He doesn't want to lose the metal income that is giving him. It's giving him
wow,
quite
the
a lot.
Imperators from Anonymous now just briefly touching Matt's base there, and then running away after having dealt not a huge amount of damage. But I think they were getting a bit upset by the defensive fire from the anti-orbital units there. They've just done a bit of a runner. Where to? Back to his home base of Diode, which he is currently also sharing with MattShadowwing. Looks like they can't escape one another.
Yeah, it does make you wonder what sort of donations could really make an impact here. Been a bit quiet in the donation space so far. Let's get some more going. Possibly not for Anonymous after that nasty snipe of Nimzo. Let's teach Anonymous a lesson by giving someone a load of donations to take out Anonymous on stage. How about that, Roncat?
That sounds absolutely wonderful to me. I would absolutely love to see, I don't know, a couple more. I'll tell you what, the donation of the horseflies to Nimzo, may they rest in peace, were a really good donation because they allow you to brutalize your opponent's ground force, especially if there is no anti-air in amongst it. See a nice little battle at the north pole of the stage now. T2 versus T2 actually. And I think the tier 2 tanks are going to win the day from Nick. There's a teleporter on the stage for Anonymous. Instantly linked up. It's like he was expecting it. And what's
Maybe
he trying
he
to send
donated
through
it to
there?
himself.
A teleporter and some boombots next to it. What could possibly happen here? More boombots ready and waiting on Diode. And they're being mobilized. They're on the move. Where is MattShadowwing's commander?
He's got
not
some
here.
horseflies on the north, though, as long as he notices those booms. Excuse me. As long as he notices those, MattShadowwing's commander is in his base. He has got a few bombers and turrets around.
And
so
Anonymous has got orbital scouts, so he will almost certainly see that commander before the boombots arrive, and he can therefore target them appropriately.
He sees the bombers, the booms have to get through a small aperture there. The booms...
Not happening. Oh,
Not-
wow, that strafing run. That was
Oh.
absolutely outrageous. Instantly killed off.
Nasty. The Imperators again moving around the orbital space. Anonymous gets more advanced metal on stage.
Meanwhile, Anonymous has now reached Berry's allotment, and yet again he meets MattShadowwing. Anonymous and MattShadowwing are on Berry's allotment and Diode together, and they're also battling it out on the stage. Nick seems to be getting left a little bit behind. Anonymous's eco is not quite keeping up with his aggressive army expansion, but Nick just seems to be kind of taking his time. I'm not quite sure what he's got planned just yet. He's the only Legion player in this game so far, so he has a unique set of units available to. Interested to see what he does with. There's a Colonel for Anonymous 2. More donations.
There's a comet for Nick on Diode as well. So if he wants to move over there with whatever small force he has, he can go and link up a teleporter to that comet and send something in. There we go. Now Anonymous has Praetorian. Now Anonymous can build Legion units. That's dangerous. We already know that Anonymous is good with his Legion and is good with his boombots. So we need support for the other players, folks, in order to counterbalance this.
Looks like Nick has managed to lock down the very interesting looking planet of Neutrino's Garden. I mean, I call it a planet. It's a little ball of lava with a load of platforms kind of precariously arranged around it. But nevertheless, he has it locked down for the most part. He has expanded onto all of the fairly scarce metal available on that planet's surface. But here, MattShadowwing really in the contest for the economy here. But for some reason, Anonymous 2 is the one with the largest army by some margin. I suspect that reason is largely due to your guys' generous donations. Let's keep them coming. Because I think he's going to need it, because his commander is not in a particularly strong position. He's sat next to a teleporter right now, but he's not got a huge amount of defences nearby.
Yes, he's definitely going to need support over here. And as you say, his commander really should be running right now rather than sitting there. Those Imperators doing a nasty piece of work. The Colonels could really be putting up some umbrellas, but your donations, folks, will support the umbrellas. Get them in. They're on the menu.
We have now passed $4,000 in donations, eclipsing last year by some margin, and we are less than $1,000 away from our target amount of $5,000. Please give generously in this final game. Think about where your wallet could have the greatest impact. See what you can do. Who do you want to win? Do you want the 1v1 legend? Do you want our wild card, the scrappy sheep from the free-for-alls? Or do you want MattShadowwing, the determined climber of ladders? You decide. You control the carnage.
Seems like MattShadowwing is getting a bit more support. A few mines there to defend his southern approaches. But still. And his northern ones. Nick seems to have a little enclave there. Needs to be careful of those mines. Very, very careful. Just saying.
And the donations continue to pour in. More landmines for Matt on Diode. Always good to see.
The airfabs, though, from MattShadowwing, those will be able to expand really quite nicely.
Wow.
Some T2 airfabs there. He is struggling for metal, so that's exactly why he is expanding to it. That being said, Anonymous over there on that planet does have some air interceptors, and he receives a kernel on Berry's allotment. Let's have a quick gander at what's happening over there. We've got a comet on the South Pole, and on the North Pole on the opposite side, we've got a kernel. A teleporter being built by a combat fab. So
I'm
that could really
interested-
give Anonymous 2 an edge on this planet.
I'm interested to see where Nick is planning on making his ingress, because he's got the eco. He doesn't have the largest army right now. I'm curious to find out where he's spending all of his resources. I think we must be missing something here, Marshall. I think he has got something up his sleeve, but I can't for the life of me think what that might be.
He's got a star cannon on Neutrino's Garden, which will be permanently producing units for him. But on the stage, he seems pretty sedate. He hasn't done anything on the South Pole. I think he's building up his T2 air over there. He's gone really air heavy, and his orbital game again seems to be blossoming there. But meanwhile, though, this approach from MattShadowwing onto Anonymous's original base on stage is really doing a lot of damage here. All of these slammers have absolutely wrecked Anonymous's original base, and Anonymous, his commander, is running away. He's had no other choice. He ran out of power just before his commander got through.
No.
He needs to pause his factories, get his commander back through that teleporter. At least he's noticed it. There we go. Doing another lap. Here we go. Circuit training with a commander.
Like that teleporter is sputtering in and out. He needs to take control of that economy, because that is not a healthy looking energy sector at all. He's building a radar which is just going to consume more energy. That's not what you want to be building. You want to get some more energy generators online. That commander really wants to go through that teleporter, and he just can't.
Slammer's moving towards his direction here. It's looking ominous from my camera angle. I'm looking at it from pretty
That
much...
commander needs desperately to get
He
to
needs
the
to get
teleporter
out of
at
there. The
expense
Slammer's
of
approaching now.
everything
That
else.
teleporter's going to be gone. Anonymous could be gone right here. He hasn't got anything else to do. He's running. The teleporter's in the way. It's protecting him a little bit, but he hasn't got
He needs
anything
the
else. There's
uber cannon.
colonels
He needs the
moving in.
uber cannon.
Slammer's focusing down that commander. Can he get behind you buildings in time? Looks like the commander's just going to get in time, but he's being flanked by more Slammers. He manages to get an uber cannon off, and he just survives.
Cutting that far, far finer than it needed to be.
That was very, very close indeed. If it wasn't for that Colonel and Praetorian, that commander would have been toast right there. Keep
Anonymous
those donations
2.
coming, folks.
Surviving by the skin of his teeth. He's falling behind in the eco game. He's being aggressively prodded by these other two players. Anonymous is the one who needs your donations right now, boys and girls. He is the one falling behind. He is the underdog. Give this guy a second chance. Maybe, just maybe, give him a little boost on Barry's allotment. Maybe he's the one who's going to fire off this Annihilator this evening.
He's the chosen one. Chosen one indeed. Over on Neutrino's Garden. Nick still playing very, very quiet and safe. Barry's allotment. MattShadowwing. Having a scouty. Have a look. See what you can see.
You know what I think we're seeing here actually, Marshall, is the result of the fact that there is just less metal available throughout the entire system, like cumulatively, and so the players are having to fight a lot harder for what they have available here.
It makes for a different game, doesn't it? Because no more is this the game of turtles, nukes, and orbital incursions. This is the game of counters and strategic approaches, almost, if you will.
What we're seeing is lots of smaller skirmishes which are overall contributing in a big way. So over here, for instance, we have an incursion by MattShadowwing of entirely slammers, or in fact entirely tier 2 MLA bots, which has not got any air protection whatsoever, which I think he will find to be a slight oversight in time, because that is the vast majority of what Anonymous has to offer in terms of defense. So he's going to just charge through here. He's probably going to be able to do a fair amount of damage before Anonymous is actually able to do anything about this. He's going to lose both of those air factories for sure, and probably a few tier 2 metal extractors, which, given that he's already so far behind in the eco game, is really going to hurt him.
It really will, and he's just going to continue to pick around in the orbital space there. Those blue hawks picking up at that orbital factory could do a bit of damage in and of itself. We've got some donations for Anonymous. 5 kernels. That will more than deal with this force. What they need to do... Oh, they're going for pelters instead. They're going to build pelters.
And Praetorians as well.
Wow.
Colonels and Praetorians, just in case he wants this transition between MLA and Legion factions. He can now build every possible available unit in the game. We now have Nick and Matt fighting each other inside Anonymous's base. Less than ideal situation for Anonymous. He needs to get those units out of his base. He needs to retake control. And he needs to get his eco sorted. He's currently at 20% efficiency. That is, all of his units and buildings are producing stuff at 1/5 of the speed they ought to. This man needs some economy donations desperately.
At least it needs to be said that his commander's not on that planet any longer. That is
it not?
It's a bit of a blessing.
On Diode?
He must be on Diode. Yes, he is. And
Yeah,
MattShadowwing just had a fly past. MattShadowwing knows that his commander is there.
It looks like his commander's just taking some damage at the hands of MattShadowwing.
Being said, is MattShadowwing mobilizing anything else? Look at all of this air power from MattShadowwing. Look at it. What's he going to do? He's building a radar and defenses. Loads of vehicle factories. What else? Because that's going to go up very, very quickly.
2 Hermes on the stage, arriving for Anonymous. He's starting to... Well, his economy is still absolutely in the toilet. He really needs to rebuild this. Desperately.
Yeah, all of them are. And there's a lot of space on the stage for more expansion. The thing is, it's being fought over and raided really quite nicely.
All of these players are here, not just because of your donations, but because they're also exceptionally good players overall. And these 3 guys here are all absolutely top tier. So they're all being really aggressive, poking, prodding each other, not allowing anyone to gain a significant foothold without being contested. That is the difference you're seeing here. Nick, however, seems to be choosing his battles very wisely and has now streamed ahead to a lead of at least 400 metal over his closest opponents. Now starting to actually contest on the stage as well.
He certainly knows how to deal with low metal environments. And even though his efficiency is down at 50% at the moment, he knows what to prioritize. So for example, these star cannons that he keeps building for Legion, he knows are slightly more efficient than regular factories, which is why he's using those to build all of his units, and he's just constantly dropping, even if it's just 1 or 2, he's just dropping them to bolster his forces, because he really goes that far in depth into this game. And it's that sort of commitment that puts him at the top of the ladder consistently now.
We're still needing some donations for Anonymous. He's got a presence on 3 planets, but he's about to be kicked off of Barry's allotment. A couple of bombing raids have just taken out his little enclave there. He still has a colonel, which has got more than enough AA to deal with a couple of pesky bombers there from MattShadowwing. But he really does need a bit of help here.
And of course, if he loses this enclave, then that gives MattShadowwing primacy over Berry's allotment. And of course, this is a metal planet. If you can lock it down, if you can get catalysts as your donations, and we're now in game enders for big spenders mode, folks. We're 29 minutes in. Any game enders you have in your up your sleeves, send them in for these players. It could get very spicy very quickly. But yeah, if he gives MattShadowwing the opportunity to lock down this planet, he's got a harder fight to get back onto this planet to disrupt that game-ending strategy.
Now, the one thing we are actually going to see, I suspect, on the stage before this game is over, is a few more Titans, land-based Titans, that is, coming into play. Because the issue we've had with these large interplanetary games is actually, you know, Ares Titans and Atlas Titans, that sort of stuff. They don't have any influence outside of the planet on which they're built, but the stage has still got all of our players contesting it strongly. I think that's probably going to be the place where we're going to see some land Titans getting either built by our players or who knows, generously donated by the viewers to give one of these players utter control over the stage. And whoever controls the stage in this system has a massive advantage, because this is by far the richest metal planet in the system.
Does need to be said though, MattShadowwing is completely fought off this stage, and indeed Anonymous 2's commander sat here. He's on half health and he sat there, and he's struggling for metal, and he sat there. And Nick has a few units roaming around. He will run into some minefields here, which is good for Anonymous, managing to maintain the defensive lines. Hop, there we go, a couple of units gone there. Anonymous really needs to be careful where he puts his commander. What's happening over on Diode? MattShadowwing starting to aggressively expand. He's got loads of fabricators over there now.
It's odd, these players just don't seem to be expanding. There's a lot of contested metal. Granted, there's a lot of raiding forces going around, and a lot of air in particular, making it difficult to build. But the only player really expanding aggressively on the stage I can see is Nick. And he is doing that very convincingly now, and you can see the effect that's having on his economy. He has got double the economy of MattShadowwing and quadruple the economy of Anonymous, who has just received a donation. Some eco being donated, but right in harm's way. Sadly, there's a large air force there ready to make short work of those metal extractors if they're not careful. And indeed, coming up from the south from Nick, there's some tier 2 tanks coming through, demolishing yet more of Anonymous 2's eco.
The Praetorian goes down there as well. But there's so many Praetorians, all from those earlier donations, but they are starting to run out, so we could do with a few top-ups in there. We've got a few Gustavs on the donation.
Got some more
counter.
eco arriving on the stage for Anonymous. He's floating energy right now, but he's getting energy now, and he's not running out of that anytime soon.
Yeah, it's all metal that he needs. It's metal, metal, metal. These players are all struggling for metal, and Nick is finally in the green for metal. That is a big moment, because the moment Nick has an okay economy, he'll start to run away. So we need to make sure that we interrupt. No, do Zeus! Hello, for Anonymous.
Oh, well, that's. I mean,
2 Zeus
that is
straight in
game
the base.
changing. 2 Zeuses on this planet. Nick
Yeah.
has got a fight on his hands now, but I should also point out over on the North Pole, Nick also has the means to deal with this if he so chooses, and if he indeed sees these Zeus.
He will do now as they appear to take out his vehicles on the southern side. If Anonymous 2 has some more Phoenix donated to him, then he can more than deal with Nick's Air Force here that is posturing, ready. It's eyeing up those Zeuses as its next victims, and the Zeus are blissfully unaware of their target.
The Air Force of Nick is on the move. Anonymous needs to pull those Zeuses back into the protection of his land-based Air Force, land-based anti-air, I should say. He needs to get them away from that large swarm of fighters, which could come crashing in any minute and take out both of his Zeuses. He also could do with another donation of Phoenixes to help fight those off. Then those Zeuses can run rampant, and we can see Nick's commanding lead crushed. Anonymous's eco back in the green, back up to 100%, bearing in mind that both Anonymous and Matt were at 20% eco only a minute or so ago. That's a comet also being donated on Berry's allotment for Nick.
Anonymous just had to run back to, I think, the stage with his commander, because I'm assuming it's the stage. I can't quite see it. Yes, it is, because he was being attacked by MattShadowwing in his base on Diode. So that's a thing that's gone. Landmines on stage for Anonymous. All the defense he needs, he can get. Neutrino's Garden, Nick has locked down. No one has really tried to contest that. And Nick has a nuke on the launch pad. It's not finished yet. It's only about 30% of the way done. But it shows his intentions for later in this game. Berry's allotment having a quick check around. MattShadowwing, it's got eco on the bottom, which is nice. And Anonymous 2, again, with that kernel on Berry's allotment, not doing much. Everything is on the stage at the moment.
Diode, all three players are on Diode, but I think they're giving it a bit of a lackluster approach. They're kind of just poking and prodding. They all know where the real stakes are here. Stage has the metal, Stage has the resources. All of these players will not give this up easily. More donations now for Anonymous. A Gustav, a really nice defensive piece of artillery there to prevent any further incursions into his base. The Zeuses are on the move towards Nick's base now. Escorted by the Phoenixes to deal with any pesky air that could possibly come nearby. Horsefly has been donated by... I think there may have been a misclick by the Puppet Masters. And, MattShadowwing had some horseflies donated right in the middle of Anonymous's base on the
Won't
stage.
last for very long, but the Zeus are in Nick's base now. That's the main thing. Nick just focuses them down there. That's where the micro really needed to come into play, and down go the Zeus. They did not last long.
They didn't, but when they landed, they crash landed and they took out everything underneath them as well. Sadly, not as much eco as perhaps Anonymous would have liked to have taken out with those Zeuses. Does now mean that he is very vulnerable to air attack, and the Puppet Master seems to have deleted those donated... I can't say my words, it's too late in the evening. Deleted those donated Fireflies, which I think were a misclick, and given to MattShadowwing instead of Anonymous 2. There they are, the correct donation now. Slightly further away. Oh, they were the correct donation, just in the incorrect place.
And
There
a
we go.
Zeus for MattShadowwing.
What a donation that is.
Again, if he goes into Nick's base, Nick can find that and go and deal with it very, very quickly.
We are at $425 to go to reach our $5,000 target. We are screaming towards that target at some pace now. And Anonymous 2, I think rightfully taking the brunt of the donations right now. He needs it. MattShadowwing also with these units, with the Zeuses and Horseflies on this planet, has a formidable ground killing force. But he is vulnerable to the anti-air of Nick.
And Anonymous just received a nuke. If he can launch that nuke as a defensive nuke against that Zeus and Horsefly right now, considering he's in such a vulnerable position, he can make a lot of damage happen. Equally, if he launches it into the middle of nuke space, he can take out all of that orbital production and the ground production and knock Nick back off the stage, essentially.
Let's hope he realises he has that nuke, and let's hope he's got enough intel to use it properly. Gonna keep an eye on that. I hope we don't miss it. Zeus on the move. Horsefly is also on the move.
Up they go to Nick's base.
I think they'll be better off going for Nick. And they
I
are.
don't think so. Nick's going to
Although
see
Nick's
that.
Air Force is going to absolutely rinse them.
Here we go. From behind and...
There they go.
Whoa, what a shot.
That was outrageously quick. Horseflies, a couple of horseflies have escaped, running rampant. Bit of eco now for MattShadowwing over on Diode.
It's like Anonymous still has his little base on Diode. MattShadowwing really starting to be aggressive over there. Nick also has a little enclave. It's not doing a huge amount. I think he's just content to sit there. Meanwhile, though, he has a lot of stuff on Neutrino's Garden. He has a lot of necromancers there, and his nuke is ready on the launch pad. I'm not seeing the next strats, if you will, from Nick. That being said, all the purgers of his, I think he was donated at... Oh.
No.
He's been building necromancers, or he was gifted a large number.
Whoa, let's have a look over here on Neutrino's Garden, Marshy.
5 Thor?
5 Thors donated to MattShadowwing. Right
What?
in the middle of Nick's territory. The only drawback is they do not have any anti-air whatsoever. That's a nuke, defensive nuke now being launched by Nick.
No,
Right.
that was an aggressive one from Anonymous.
Anonymous nukes Nick over on Neutrino's Garden. At the same time, MattShadowwing's Thors, he hasn't noticed he has them yet. They're being pounded by this air. I say
What
pounded.
will he do? How will he deal with this? He has launched his
There's the
nuke
defensive
defensively.
nuke. The Thors are on the move. Thors are on the move. Are they going to escape from this nuke? The nuke comes screaming in. The Thors are walking as fast as their little legs can carry them. Are they going to escape?
Little, sir. Well, certainly some of them managed to get out of the
that
epicenter.
actually doesn't matter because they can take a nuke on the chin and just walk it off, apparently. There they go.
All of a sudden, Nick is in dire
Nick is in a
straits.
lot of trouble here.
He's got a load of air fabricators somewhere. I saw them. He's building a lot of T2 air now, and look at that. He's going straight for the next, the gunships there, the salamanders. He needs some anti-ground air, and all he has on this planet really is air.
And he just nuked a load of his actual fighting crafts himself. So he's kind of not done himself any favours with that nuke. These Thors are going to cause some absolute devastation if they're used properly here.
What I'm going to do is I'm
Nick's
just
got
going
a
to jump
real
back
problem
to the
here.
stage to see what's happening, because I think we've had a few donations over there. Anonymous has a load more Phoenix now. He has quite a nice Air Force, really. Nick could move back to the stage. He has most of his economy over there, and he's more than double his next competitor. But that being Anonymous there. Oh well, I say more than double, mostly, not quite. Let's not split hairs. And MattShadowwing again, still spreading out on Diode. It looks like Anonymous's commander. Where is that? I don't see it anywhere. Do you? Must be on the stage. It is.
I think it's on the stage still.
And it's full health now as well. But
Good.
back on Neutrino's garden.
They split the Thors up, which means the Air Force can only tackle one blob of them at a time, and they're not really dealing with them in the most effective way.
Here come
Oh,
the
here we are. Here
salamanders.
comes some salamanders. They're going to deal with this in a much more effective manner.
Loads of fire, loads of fire.
They've still got an uphill battle here. Unfortunately, those were placed on exactly the opposite sides. They've got a lot of walking to do, and they're not the most agile creatures in the world. But they're steadily stomping through and taking out a load of eco as they do so.
We're only $293 away from 5k, folks. This is going really well. Pathing is horrendous, says Matt. Yeah, that's Kiwi's job to complain
I'm
about.
struggling
Matt.
to find lots of sympathy for the guy who just got donated 5 Thors.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, you make do. You make do.
And here they go, just stomping on through there.
The salamanders are doing some work for Nick, though. Look at that. I mean, you wouldn't have thought fire like that, dropping it on top of a big metal machine, would really do a lot of damage, but it's doing work.
Yeah, it's doing it. But he's
Doing
only
work.
taken out 2 so far. No, he's taken out 1.
Here we go. Look at this. He's going to reclaim it. He's reclaiming. We've got a reclaimer. Oh my word, no, don't do this again. Taking Nimzo's
This is the
strats.
second Thor reclaim we've seen in this tournament. I have never seen a single Thor reclaim before, and now we have 2 in one tournament.
Absolutely unreal. Look at them all. And the salamanders coming over to assist to Thor trying to fire off its missiles. There's still one surviving on the other side of the planet. Nick needs to get more anti-orbital, and there's another Thor on the south pole. I wonder how he got there. Got lost a little bit.
So
I
many
wonder.
Thors. That's just ridiculous. Right.
There we go. One down. Reclaimed. To submission. But Nick now, running out of power.
I'm back on the stage. I'm just going to drag your attention over here, Marshall. We have an incursion by Anonymous into Nick's base. So Nick is now having to micro and defend on 2 fronts. Anonymous attacking on the stage, MattShadowwing attacking on Neutrino's garden. He's losing a load of power, and he's losing a load of eco to this. Nick's economy is being absolutely savaged. Not that it matters too much. He has got eco to spare, but it's his energy now. His energy is the bottleneck. He's down to 60% efficiency, and they keep chewing through his energy producing. That is a real problem for Nick right now.
Yeah, if you can donate Nick some power, that would be great. Or indeed some Colonels or Praetorians right into the stage. That would also be valuable. Because right now, as you say, he doesn't have much to deal with this, and he's too busy trying to defend Neutrino's garden from Thors that have been let loose. And in fact, look at this. He's built himself a Loki. With his air fabs, he's built himself an air titan from the Legion. And that could well help him defend really quite nicely, and it should do.
That's a very effective counter there from Nick, realising that the Thors have absolutely no AA whatsoever. He's just built a gunship which can just fly up above and deliver death on these things at some distance. His economy has taken a hit from both this and the incursion by Anonymous over on the stage, but he's got plenty to spare. He's doing absolutely fine. Thank you very much.
And he
Now-
has Berry's allotment as well. He has all of Berry's allotment. He's got loads of air factories. He could really get some catalysts, you know. He did say before the game he'd do the rest. If you gave him 3, why not? Give him 3.
3 catalysts is pretty affordable on our menu. And we've got a little incursion now by MattShadowwing, poking Anonymous 2 over on Diode, sitting at range with these long-range vehicles, and he's killing off the bots who are not able to dish out much damage in return, taking out a little bit of Anonymous's eco. MattShadowwing really on the back foot here, looking at his economy. He has taken the brunt of the aggression here. He doesn't really have a planet to call his own. His only base, as far as I can see, is actually on Diode itself, so no wonder Anonymous is getting a bit of a rough treatment there at his hands.
And after fighting all the way through the qualifiers, all the way through that first round, to have this sort of treatment in the finals must be pretty difficult to stomach. Coming out though with MattShadowwing, he's got loads of orbital production on Diode. I'm surprised at this point that the players haven't started to think about orbital to ground units, because not many players have wide-reaching anti-orbital. They have it in pockets, but a lot of undefended areas in terms of anti-orbital. That being said though, meanwhile, Neutrino's Garden, there's another Thor. It's one of those original 5 that's, again, making waves. Getting a little close to the commander here, who's assisting out a nuke.
That's a lot closer to the commander than I think anyone would be comfortable with. No, wow, look at those just...
I think he's burned.
Yeah,
I think he's feeling burned.
I think that's happened.
Wow.
I was slightly concerned for Nick briefly there. I'm now less concerned.
Less concerned indeed is the right way to go about it. Nick seems to have quite a nice defensible location there, with the thin pathway there is really hampering the Thor. So you really want to have some nice air units on this map. I think is gonna be the way to go.
It's still the stage. Like these players are absolutely committed to winning on the stage. At the moment, we're seeing some Titans now being built by Nick on the stage. The Legion land vehicle Titan, the Odin, he has one at about 70% completion.
Oh, we have a nuke launch.
Is it an interorbital nuke or is it a less than interorbital nuke?
I think it was anti-nukes, but I did hear one.
I heard the noise briefly, but I didn't see it, so I think you must be right.
Air coming in from Anonymous, punishing Nick there in his base.
Nick's commander, though, safely off world. I think Nick is actually beginning to lose his hold on this planet. I think these land titans are almost a desperation move. Unfortunately, there's no anti-air on the Odin, as far as I'm aware.
He can afford the Odin though, and I'd be surprised if he didn't try and get up some T2 air factories here. He's losing a lot of his power on the
That's
south.
A nuke for Anonymous, a donated nuke for Anonymous.
If Anonymous uses that correctly, he could knock Nick off this planet completely and allow himself to expand big time.
His air now focusing down that Titan. The Titan does have AA. This Titan does have the ability to defend itself against air, so these bombers are just going to get absolutely shredded. But it
5 nukes for MattShadowwing on Diode.
Oh, wow.
That is a game ender for a big spender right there. 5 nukes can kill a commander. 2, really. But 5 if you carpet nuke a zone. That is... that's a bit of pain.
There's a large orbital incursion by Nick, just landed on Diode, instantly dealt with by the umbrella shield that he has there. The commander patrolling in and around these umbrellas with an anti-nuke sat directly underneath it. And he's got 5 nukes. Now what MattShadowwing needs to do is to scout. He needs to scout the solar system and find out where his opponent's commanders are. And then he can just drop some nukes on their head. Interestingly though, the Legion anti-nuke missile launcher can contain 4 anti-nukes, which means that even if Matt were to launch all 5 of his nukes directly onto Nick's commander's heads, he still would not be able to kill it, because 4 of the nukes would be shot down, 1 would land, and it takes 2 nukes to kill a commander.
Anonymous has completely wiped off Nick. I think he must have used his nuke in Nick's main base there, or at least fought his way through it, because there's not a lot left there at all.
Still does not have complete control over this planet though, because
he's got the eco.
The Odin is just sat there. The Odin is sat there being a real pest.
Takes a while to shoot though. Look at it. Oh.
Being well supported though by the decimators there.
I'm really interested to see how Matt uses these nukes. He could use it for a carpet nuke to ensure the safety and security of his planet here. He can launch them to Berry's allotment if anyone decides to start building catalysts. He could carpet nuke Nick's spawning area, if you will, on Neutrino's Garden. He could go and carpet nuke Anonymous's base there. Anonymous also only has 3 anti-nukes around his commander. Again, it only takes 2 nuke hits to kill a commander. And his commander is not between 2 anti-nukes. He's sat next to a telly thinking, I'm ready to run away. I've done it many times. I can do it again.
Do love a little bit of tactical retreats.
Cat and mouse indeed, isn't it? Nick here, I think, struggling to make inroads. He's got a lot of stuff on Berry's allotment. He doesn't seem to be doing a lot with it. Again, he's struggling for power. Nick could do with some power donations. And with how close we are to 5k, I think 4 power generators should be 200 booms on diode for Nick. Hello.
I
Hold
want
the
to
phone.
take some long odds on Nick building some catalysts. He's got a large eco. He's got almost exclusive control over Berry's allotment. I'm thinking Annihilator. Look at all the air he's building on this planet as well. He's absolutely ripe for air fabricators. He has a lot of air fabricators. He's building lots of energy now to support them. I think we're going to see some catalysts being built on Berry's allotment this game.
I wouldn't be surprised, but again, MattShadowwing is keeping his nukes in his pocket. He's got his pocket nukes, and he's pushed out, instead of using his nukes on
Nuke fire,
Anonymous's
nuke
base.
launch on diodes. Matt has launched a nuke into the orbital layer. It's
Single
going
use
towards
nukes?
Neutrino's garden.
Ooh, that's interesting. But Matt, instead of using his nuke to take out Anonymous 2 on his own planet, has moved in with an entire vehicle force. Now that saves his nukes for other reasons, like we've just seen going to Neutrino's garden there. And he's also using an orbital radar here, so he can go and see exactly where Nick's commander is. Again, Nick is... Oh, there's booms! No way! Those booms just landed from Anonymous 2. They just landed on Nick's
on the
commander,
anti-nuke.
and they landed on the anti-nuke. Nick
That
is
nuke has
in
got
trouble.
free reign to land in the middle of Nick's base.
There is another anti-nuke being built, but it is panic being built. I tell you that much. The nuke is landing on the South Pole. Oh, it just got
shot down.
anti-nuked. More mines, though.
There's
Oh,
no
wow.
way. Has the Puppet Master definitely donated these to the right people?
Yes, I'm sure.
These troll mine donations are absolutely outstanding. Keep them coming.
Nick is not happy. Let's say that for nothing. Meanwhile, though,
Fresh anti-nuke
MattShadowwing
has been built.
MattShadowwing has now completed his reconnaissance of the stage. His orbital radar moving back home. He can now see exactly what's happening on Anonymous's base. And look at the stage. Anonymous has expanded like wildfire while we've been looking elsewhere. His economy really has started to build. And Nick's base is a shell of its former self. Big time.
Chat, we have now breached $5,000 in donations.
Well, hey!
We have achieved our goal, but let's not stop there. Let's get these catalysts built by hook or by crook. Nick might need a little bit of a nudge to start thinking about them. I think he's forgotten about his promise to you at the start of the game. He did say if you built them 1 or 2, he would be able to do the rest. Let's hold him true to his word. Can we get some annihilators firing this game? I don't know whether the other 2 players would be able to stop him from building them.
Well, there are the nukes there from MattShadowwing, so all he needs is some anti-nukes. And he would be able to do just that. There isn't enough orbital play from the other players to be able to make an orbital incursion unless we get tier donations.
It looks to me that MattShadowwing has now completely locked down Diode. There's absolutely no competition there whatsoever. And I don't think anyone's particularly keen to attack him. Having said that, Anonymous 2 is for some reason sending all of his solar arrays right into Matt's welcoming open arms. Very wise, trusting his power production to his opponent, I'm sure.
Don't quite see where that was. Oh gosh,
Where have they gone?
they've literally what? They have vanished.
There they are, they're back on the move again. I think he's just tried to make them escape from some sort of attack. But I can't quite see where.
They went to Diode. That must have been a misclick. There's no reason why you would move those. That must have been a misclick. Supernova detected. Nick is building another nuke launcher, and he's just going to leave it there. He's now got... Oh, it's an empty nuke launcher. He's not bothering to build a nuke with one of his. Curious. Nick, though, now has positive economy.
Okay.
He's floating power.
Iron Dome's now going up in the vicinity of the catalyst sites on Berry's allotment. Iron Dome's, the anti-nuke launchers being built in the vicinity of the catalyst sites. I think I know what's coming next.
I think I do too, folks. You in the stream, will you support Nick in getting his catalysts, or will you
That's a
perturb
Ragnarok
him?
on Neutrino's Garden for Nick. It's the second time someone has bought a troll Ragnarok for Nick. Is he going to spend so long trying to build these catalysts that he doesn't notice the Ragnarok? I somehow doubt it. There
He's
it
noticed
goes.
it. The attempted troll.
Nick thinks that's the third time people have tried to do it to him. Wait, no way. A second troll Ragnarok has been detected. On Berry's allotment, no less. Is Nick desperately going to try and find this?
And there's another
Does he
one
know?
for MattShadowwing on Diode. Who's placing
Who's
all of
placing
these
all these
Ragnaroks? What's going
Who's
on?
doing this?
I have a feeling that MattShadowwing might not realise.
I don't think Nick's noticed.
And
there's a second
Anonymous
one.
on the stage has a Ragnarok as well. Anonymous has noticed. Anonymous has deleted. MattShadowwing
Nick,
though.
Nick hasn't noticed. Nick hasn't noticed his Ragnarok and Berry's allotment. They're going to blow up the metal planet.
No way. No way is this a thing that's happening.
There's no way Nick hasn't noticed this.
We've got both Ragnaroks in screen.
What's happening?
Nick is going to
The
lose a lot
catalyst
of
has been
economy.
deleted. The Ragnarok's going to go off and it's going to blow up the metal planet with the catalyst on top.
Nick, realise what's going on. There's a Ragnarok there. He doesn't notice.
He hasn't noticed the Ragnarok.
Oh!
He got it.
He's got it. MattShadowwing though still has his. MattShadowwing's just realised as well.
Oh.
Wow.
I thought we were going to lose the metal planet. He couldn't
Wow.
find it. He spotted it at the last minute. Who is donating these Ragnaroks? That is absolutely outstanding.
Right now, though, we have one catalyst produced. Let's get 4 more, folks. Let's see the laser happen. 80 boombots for Anonymous on Neutrino's Garden. Nick's
Where are they?
commander is over there.
The boombots have been absolutely taken out by
Already?
the defensive
Gosh.
forces. They would just fire layered on top of them. This is absolutely ridiculous. All of those troll Ragnaroks, they're absolutely amazing. Whoever's done that in the chat, that is absolutely brilliant.
Oh, that was a good bit of fun right there. That really was. MattShadowwing still has his nukes on Diode. He really is biding his time here. MattShadowwing, I reckon, could turn around and do some nasty commander sniping later on in this game because he has his arsenal in his back pocket. He has a lot of air fabbers as well. What's he thinking in terms of orbital? Another catalyst being built by Nick. That's going up pretty
MattShadowwing
fast.
is not having it. MattShadowwing saying, I don't think so. You can't just go ahead and build these with impunity. And actually, there's not a lot of anti-orbital defense here. He's protected them against nukes, but he hasn't really done much against, you know,
He's got a
stuff
couple of
coming in from
tollers.
orbit.
A couple of tollers there that don't quite reach.
That catalyst looking a little bit ropey. Is he
Ropey
going to be able to kill it
indeed.
off in time? I think he might just kill off that catalyst.
Yeah,
It's going to be very close.
Nick's busy building the next one. It's interesting that he's not gone back to heal and build up more tollers. That does surprise me. That really, really does surprise me.
Quitch has identified the mystery Ragnarok donor as Jurgen. Jurgen wins 2020 Ultimate Troll.
Beautiful stuff, sir.
$160 spent on trolling. What an outstanding contribution to this amazing game.
Here we go. Nick, queuing up all those catalysts. We can see it now. So, will you support Nick in finishing off his catalysts? That's the question. We've got one. Will we have another?
Is Nick going to hold true to his promise? Is he going to be the one to fire the Annihilator?
We've got nukes coming in from MattShadowwing now. From Diode over to the Annihilator. Are the iron domes where the nukes are going to land? There's a lot of those anti-nukes there floating around. The nukes could come in right on top and the iron dome will shoot them down. Where is it coming? We'll find out in 3, 2.
He's managed to place
It
it
lands.
between the anti-nukes.
Whee! Just
Oh.
as it got right down into the circle, that iron dome.
I don't think my heart
reactions
can
are on
take this,
fire.
Marshall. I don't think my poor heart can take this.
It's all right. I'll take over if you need a rest. It's all right. Go and grab a tea. It's fine. I've got this.
I tell you what, I'm having so much tea after this. This is an absolute emotional roller coaster.
Everything stops for tea. What's going on Neutrino's Garden? We haven't heard much from Nick. His base on Neutrino's Garden is smattered with anonymous mines. It looks like smuts. It looks like he's gone back to on a steam train and he's just come out with a load of coal on his face. It's not fun. Meanwhile, on Diode, MattShadowwing just got nuked somewhere.
Oh, that was a hefty nuke.
Pure.
That's taken out all of his tier 2 production.
Certainly his tier 2 vehicles. There's another 3 nukes. Where? To
They've got to be going on to Barry's allotment.
That is going on to Barry's allotment. Wow, Anonymous 2 has made an incursion on the South Pole. Nick panicking. All of the air going down there. If Nick is panicking this much, he might need some loo roll. But he won't find any. Meanwhile, where are those nukes going to land? Possibly on the north. If they land on the south, I'm going to laugh. Very loudly. They're going on the north.
Huge
shot
incursion.
down.
There's so many Praetorians in that South Pole. I don't know.
One is going to land.
To do with that.
They've
landed.
And two What a
catalysts
shot.
Down. Come on, Nick. You can do this. Anonymous's eco has skyrocketed in the last 5 minutes.
That
Nick
is
is
the
no longer
stage.
the leader here.
Anonymous. Look how much Anonymous has on the stage. He's everywhere. Everywhere.
He's got all of this metal completely locked down. Nick is so busy trying to build the Annihilator, he's kind of allowed Anonymous to expand and get a commanding economy lead.
He needs your support to get these catalysts up. Seriously. 4 catalysts donated, and this game is over.
But that's all the nukes gone now. MattShadowwing's nukes have been spent. I don't know if he has the eco necessary to replenish them at the speed he would need to get rid of all those catalysts.
The South Pole here with Anonymous 2, with all of these Praetorians. How many? Many is more than enough to say. For an exact count, 16. He just got nuked. Defensive nuked by Nick, but he missed the Praetorians. The Praetorians are still there.
They're coming for his
moving
energy.
in for his power. Exactly. And all the air fams are like, what can we do? Not a lot.
Nick's playing the diplomatic approach again. I want Nick to play the firing lasers approach instead.
Big Danny says, I want to see planets blown up at this point. Folks, let's get those catalysts donated. Phoenix coming in now on the North Pole from MattShadowwing, and those Phoenix will wreck any air fabricators. Any notion that Nick had of using air fabbers only to build catalysts is now gone. He has started using ground fabricators on the other side. He started teleportering them in. He's got a little bit of anti-air there. It's not enough. He's now very much slowed down in his catalyst production. A donation of 3 catalysts will give him control of this metal planet and allow him to take out Anonymous or MattShadowwing immediately.
In fact, only 2 would need to be done. There was 1 in progress. I don't think that the Puppet Master were able to place over the 1 in progress.
Oh, it
we
will
only
be.
need 2 catalysts, and then when this final one is completed here, we will have the Annihilator.
We'll have it. We will have it. Can we have it? It all depends on you guys in chat. You control the carnage. And they're
Praetorians
only
on the move.
$20 a piece.
Praetorians on the move on Berry's allotment, moving northwards towards the catalysts. Nick is really going to have to fight to get these built.
The trouble is, Nick just doesn't have the same economy that Anonymous 2 has now. Nick needs a way to get back onto the stage, or so does MattShadowwing. But it's all over Berry's allotment. Again, it's all over the metal planet.
Everyone wants to fire the laser. And why wouldn't you want to fire a gigantic space laser and take out like 3 planets? Why would you not want to do that? That is like the definition of fun.
What are we up to on Neutrino's Garden for Nick? He must need to be thinking about his next moves.
You know something, chat? I'm agreeing with Quitch here. I think Anon is destroying everyone's hopes and dreams here. Destroying the catalysts. I think Anon is the one who needs to be donated against now. Having come from being
MattShadowwing
the
is
underdog.
invading Nick. Poor choice, Matt. Poor choice. The invasion should have been against Anonymous. Instead, on Neutrino's Garden, we have an ingress.
Has he invested in any scout units? There's quite a lot of mines. Ironically, they are mines donated to Anonymous 2 on this planet, but they could absolutely count as defense against Matt's invasion force.
Here come
Has he
Nick
put any anti-air in
Salamanders.
here?
Look
No,
at
he
this.
hasn't put any anti-air. None at all.
Some is starting to come through, but it is nowhere near enough. These salamanders are beauteous against this. They can pop down little turrets as well, and all in the name of carnage, as it were. There we go. In come the Vipers, killing off that Helios, punishing it for its belligerence.
And then they get these salamanders just coming in here and dropping their little flamey vengeance all over this blue force. Look at that. That is absolutely disgraceful.
Nick sending a defensive nuke to Anonymous's incursion on the metal planet. Look at this. Anonymous with so many fabbers coming through. And the Nick get the nuke. Oh, it's going to get there just before the Iron Dome is complete. Wow.
Oh my word. And that donation made at the last second got nuked.
So many fabbers. Anonymous's fabber count just went through the floor. Look at that. I'm going to go back 15 seconds. I want to see that. 35 down to... Oh no, wait. I was looking at the wrong number. I'll do it again. 242 to 100.
Wow. That was a very decisive nuke.
240 down to
6 kernels on Neutrino's Garden for Anonymous 2. Anonymous 2 has got some very generous donors this evening. The kernels have got some very substantial AA, so the primary defense that Nick has, which is his air units, are going to struggle.
Ooh, it's
and
a
there's
Ragnarok!
He's got
Nick
the
has
kernels
to deal
defend
with
the
that.
Ragnarok.
Nick has to deal with this. He can't delete it now.
The kernels are there to defend it. He's building more air turrets to try and defend this Ragnarok against the incoming salamanders. And the kernels need to repair that Ragnarok very quickly. Not just focus on building, they need to repair as well.
It's going to go down. That's very, very fortunate for Nick that he's been able to muster that in such short order. In come the salamanders now. Again, punishing the belligerents. They need to focus down that teleporter before more units come through. Again, focusing it down. Nick doing a really good job here of defending his forces, but he needs your support to make headway in this game. Anonymous is running away with it.
This game is absolutely amazing. I can see the viewers' frustrations. They're like, just get on with it. Finish it. And then they're putting their money where their mouth is. And they are making it happen because really it is the viewers who are going to decide how this ends. And everyone's trying their absolute hardest to find a victor. We have Anonymous locked down on the stage. The most metal-rich planet we have here. Diode entirely controlled by MattShadowwing. Neutrino's Garden is owned by Nick, and Berry's allotment controlled by, but not entirely dominated, sadly, by Nick.
2
3 of the
catalysts.
5 catalysts have been completed.
2 catalysts, please donate. Now,
can we get
quick.
the last 2 catalysts?
He did say he would build 3, and he has got 3. He needs 2. He needs 2.
What he needs right now is for someone to get rid of Anonymous from this planet, because Anonymous is causing him no end of problems.
Anonymous is causing everyone problems. MattShadowwing is chasing the wrong targets. What's he doing on Diode? We haven't had a look over there for a while. Anonymous is not... Oh, he is. He's invading from the south. The Locust Swarm! Nom nom nom! Everyone in chat, if you're subscribed, if you're anything, there are custom emotes in my chat for nom nom nom. These locusts are exactly that. They go through and they chew, and this could knock Anonymous back to the Stone Age, nomming everywhere. Absolutely destroyed, and that's the problem. Anonymous can't deal with all of these locusts at the same time. Nom 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 they go.
Just to check, this is Matt being nommed on, isn't it?
This is Matt being
Okay.
nommed on by Anonymous. Anonymous noms, and Matt actually has 2 Manhattans next to a teleporter, so he can see his game plan.
Ooh.
He's building a Helios. He's going to try and drop some Manhattans with a Helios.
For those not familiar, Manhattans are basically mobile bombs. You can drive them around, and when they die, they explode. And I think Matt is planning on using those and dropping them through a teleporter directly onto someone's commander. That is what we're looking at here. We're either looking at a planet smash, or hopefully an annihilator, if we can get these last 2 catalysts built. Otherwise, we're going to be reduced back to the realms of commander snipes.
Nick has some Suzuks, or rather Black Knights, as it were, or Legion. He's sending them over. I think he wants to take out Anonymous on his planet once and for all. He did manage to defensive nuke it, which is fortunate for him. He's got some orbital coming in now. These Black Knights charge up a shot and fire it.
Where is the commander? That is the
explodes.
key. I can't see anything.
Eos.
There's just so many units on this planet. I can't find that commander.
Which planet?
On the stage, I'm looking for Anonymous's commander.
If you double tap on his commander icon, it'll take you to...
Catalyst donation!
One. Nick is building one. Is there going to be one donated on top of his build? This could be...
This is it! The Annihilator's being built!
This could be it. It's going up very, very fast, folks. The laser...
build power!
Nukes for... We've got Hallies for building for Matt on Diode. Can we get some nukes fast? Can we get some nukes fast to deal with Nick's catalyst power? He has the catalyst, the laser. He can use it. He's powering it. Where's it going to? It's got to go for the stage. Absolutely guaranteed. He is not a fan of Anonymous. Where is it going to come out at? It's going to charge right about through there. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. Anonymous is gone. He's out of the game. And Nick can fire it again.
The great thing about the Annihilator is you can fire it twice. Having fired it once, he's now lining up on Diode.
And it's way too late. MattShadowwing is gone also. Oh.
Nick says as promised.
He delivers.
I mean, I have to say the chat definitely donated more than 2 catalysts throughout the course of that game. He took some work, he made us wait for it, and my goodness, what a game that was. And Nick claims victory in the 2020 Planetary Annihilation Ablegamers Charity Tournament. Congratulations to Nick.
What an evening. What a game. Absolutely mind-blowing. The last one was an orbital slugging fest. This one really was an attrition game, wasn't it? It really was.
It was brilliant. We had we had a mix there of a planet-based scuffles, command and control, and then finally the race for the Annihilator, and everyone trying to do everything they could to stop it. That final catalyst donation was just enough to push us over the edge. Nick able to bring home the goods. Let's bring our players in for a little bit of post-match analysis. What say you?
I do agree with that.
Well, players, welcome back to the stream. That was quite something. That really, really was.
Everyone's aiming for the laser.
Oh, quite right
we
too.
Just hyped it up. It had to happen.
Promise made, promise kept.
I wanted to rag it, but I couldn't bring myself to do it.
It almost happened.
So, what did you guys think of that? The Ragnarok plague that happened halfway through that one.
I caught the one literally as I saw the alert for completion. Like, just clicked that and it was already complete. And I thought it's game over, so just got really lucky it hadn't dropped the nuke down to the core.
Yeah, so there were actually, I think, grand total that was a $160 troll right there. There were Ragnaroks dropped, multiple Ragnaroks dropped on every planet.
Had us all on edge.
That's a heavy commitment right there. But I like it.
I think we enjoyed it in the casting booth, and the stream went absolutely nuts for it as well. Nick and Matt, both of you struggling to find out where those horrifying planet-destroying noises were coming from.
I was constantly
ridiculous.
It was very confusing because I heard the other people's Ragnarok and was like, it's fine, they're gonna delete it. And then one of them just kept going, so I really just spun around the planet to see where it is, and then I found it at the last 5 seconds.
Yeah, I was looking on for him too.
So Anonymous, you had a fairly commanding economic lead throughout that game, and you just weren't able to forestall Nick's catalyst completion there.
Yeah, I was going to try building my own, but couldn't maintain that control.
And Nick, you are now the champion of Planetary Annihilation's 2020 Ablegamers tournament. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling tired and really grateful and really happy, and I hope all the money that people have donated ends up helping people experience these games the way we do, and feeling the exact same way. So, like, big thanks to.
Guys, I hate to interrupt. We've just had a post-match donation of $500.
What?
Wow.
We have broken 6,000.
What?
Wow. What an amazingly generous donation. That pushes us up to a grand total of
$6,052 raised in support of Ablegamers. Folks, I think in our whole run of Ablegamers, ever since 2014, 2015, 16, 17, 18, and now in 2020, our total raised is over $15,000 for Ablegamers. That's wow.
That's very impressive.
well.
Thank you to all who donated.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Guys, Nick, congratulations once again. And guys, thank you for an amazing final. What a great slugging match. A war of attrition, and you all performed magnificently.
Shall we bring Wonderful and Lula in here if they're floating around, just so
Let's.
that we can talk to Wonderful about this as well. Wonderful,
Wonderful.
how'd you find that? Is he here? Is he here? Is he?
He's here. I've just brought in Wonderful and Lula May from their little channel that they were, I'm sure, coordinating the drops. Wonderful and Lula, are you both present?
Lula is.
Lula, how
Hey,
was
I
that
switched
for
back to
you?
Push to talk for the public room there. Hi.
Hi, Wonderful. Hi, welcome back. How was that for you guys on the Puppet Master end of things?
My coffee kept getting cold.
Yeah, I think overall it's probably one of the smoothest events. I was running into a couple little bugs that are probably my fault, but went pretty well.
But it still kept us pretty busy most of the time.
Well, I bet you were. Those Ragnaroks can't replace themselves.
Yeah, that was fun.
Or mines in the middle of bases.
That was fun too.
That was great. I just occasionally look and see tons of mines on that guy's planet.
Yeah, that was one of the situations. That's supposed to be went to 20s, not 200s.
Well, I think that draws us neatly to our close. I think the only thing left to do is to thank absolutely everyone for all of the work that has gone into organising, playing, performing and orchestrating this tournament. A lot of work has gone in behind the scenes. People like Quitch typing up the player profiles, Wonderful actually writing the mod, Lula for making the donation video, for all of the players for turning up and dedicating their evening to this, for you, the viewers, your generosity, and for the Ablegamers charity for having such an awesome cause worth working towards. I wanted to thank everyone for an amazing evening. I've had a great time. I don't know about you guys.
It's been absolutely great for me. That's all I have to say.
It's
That's
genuinely
all I have
been
to say.
the best tournament we've ever run. It's been certainly the most profitable for the Ablegamers charity. It's been an amazingly fun evening to cast. We have seen some absolutely incredible plays. The Twitch chat just intervening at the last second. And I think... Should we wrap it up there, Marshall?
I think we should.
Alright, so I have been the Wrong Cat.
And I've been Marshall. Thank you very much, folks, for all of your gracious support.